What's up YouTube, it's Zabder's TCG here, and thanks again for tuning in for another TCG deck profile video on the channel. Today, one of the most requested deck lists, it's going to be Rayquaza. That's right, Rayquaza post-rotation. Is it even possible? Do we rely on Vikavolt, on Venusaur, on Magnezone? Not really, we're still holding on to the concept that we're running basic Pokemon and we're gonna set up Rayquaza GX. If you want to stick around for more, definitely watch the rest of the video to know how Rayquaza GX will have an impact in the post-rotation format. This is going to include cards from Dragon Majesty, which comes out next week, or actually in 2 weeks time. So just to have a little disclaimer here, there's going to be copies in here, proxies of course, of course the Dragon Majesty set. And if you want proxies for yourself, be sure to visit limitlesstcg.com. They have the best site to just print your proxies. Anyhow, let's go straight into this deck list. We'll be running 4 copies of Rayquaza GX still. Why 4 copies? Well, that is because it comes with the Dragon Storm ability, or actually the Stormy Winds ability. If you just bench Rayquaza down from your hand onto your bench, you may discard the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can just attach a basic energy from your discard pile to Rayquaza GX immediately. So what is Rayquaza GX all about? Well, you just want to discard a lot of energies early game, so you can of course rely on Stormy Winds to just get your energies onto Rayquaza GX immediately, and Dragon Break deals 30 damage for every lightning and grass type energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So the theory here is you want to have a ton of energies attached to all of your Pokemon. A good thing about Rayquaza, if you're dead drawing, well, you can use Tempest GX, discard your hand, and then draw 10 cards. This is very crucial because Sycamore is now out of the format. We even have things like Acro Bike to discard some energies, but if you don't have energies immediately, you can have a first turn Tempest GX, and on your second turn, you can just bench all the Rayquazas you want, and you'll definitely have a ton of energy. So Dragon Break as the attack we'll be spamming here, the main attacker. The next Pokemon that we're going to talk about is Latias Prism Star. You're pretty familiar with this card already. It deals 30 damage with the Dreamy Mist attack, and then you can attach basic energy to every one of your basic dragon type Pokemon on the bench. I cannot stress enough how powerful that is. Let's say we have 5 dragon types on the bench, which isn't that hard to pull off since we're gonna be running a maximum of 4 Mysterious Treasures and 4 Ultra Ball. Let's say the entire bench is filled with dragon type Pokemon. Well, you can accelerate up to 5 energies at once with that Latias Prism Star. So that's why this deck is very solid. Out of nowhere, your field could be looking like this. You have a bunch of energies on the bench, then one Rayquaza GX is powered up with energies, and then you can just do Dragon Break for a bazillion amount of damage. We use Max Elixir, which is very huge for this deck, but we have something pretty similar. We're just gonna run the Drampa. It has the Dragon Wisdom attack, which lets you deal 20 damage, pretty similar like Latias Prism Star. It is not that good like Latias Prism Star. I definitely recommend using that attack, but if it's priced or if it's knocked out, you can rely on Drampa. Drampa with the Dragon Wisdom, it lets you attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your Dragon type Pokemon. So this is just similar like Registeel's attack or Volcanion in the past. So it just lets you attach energies from the discard as a basic Pokemon. The bad thing is it has 120 HP, so maybe we could tech in Sudowoodo from Guardians Rising to keep them alive, but most of the time you will rely on Latias Prism Star to have energy acceleration. Drampa is just there to just have the opening turn or in emergency situations. It also has an attack, Hyper Voice, which you might use if you're relying on Zinnia as a one-price attacker, but I would recommend using that Zinnia supporter, which we're going to talk about later on Rayquaza GX, because Rayquaza GX deals the numbers perfectly. Next up is Tapu Koko GX. If you are not a fan of the Tempest GX, or if you don't use it in the early game, you can have of course the attack Tapu Thunder GX. Tapu Thunder GX can come out of nowhere and deals 50 damage for every energy the opponent has in play, which is very fun in the mirror and also works out against a ton of other decks. Let's say you have the Arrow Trail ability at your disposal, you use Ultra Ball, and out of nowhere Tapu Koko can be swinging into the active position, drag all the lightning energies to it, and then you can use that GX move, which is crazy. Moving forward, we're gonna run 2 copies of Tapu Lele. This deck is crazy consistent. Why is that? Because of course the Mysterious Treasure can get out Tapu Lele GX, but it can also get out the Rayquaza GX. In the early phase of the game, I do recommend using Mysterious Treasure for a Latias Prism Star, so with that you don't have the chance of discarding it with the Stormy Winds ability, but you also have access to Tapu Lele with Mysterious Treasure, which is awesome. Wonder Tag, you can search a supporter of choice. We are gonna of course run Lilie in here and a bunch of other supporters. Maybe you want that one copy of Zinnia out of the deck. Well, it's possible thanks to Tapu Lele. And if you're dead drawing, if you just draw into Mysterious Treasure, Ultra Ball, or Tapu Lele, you are immediately back in the game. Okay, moving forward to the supporters. So we're not gonna run that many Pokemon since Rayquaza is the only necessary attacker, and the Latias and the Drampa are just little ones off or maybe twos off just to set up Rayquaza. Here we have the supporter line, 4 copies of Cynthia, the most perfect draw supporter for this deck. This deck discards already enough as it is, but with Cynthia you can just shuffle your hand to your deck, get a fresh hand of 6, which can help out in certain situations. Also, if you are dead drawing, Cynthia is the most consistent draw supporter, 4 copies, so we definitely don't dead draw and get it in the opening hand as always. If you want something else in the opening hand, well, there is of course Lilie. Lilie just lets you draw cards until you have 8 in the hand on your first turn, or 6 if it's not your first turn. I definitely recommend getting out Lilie with Tapu Lele in the early phases of the game because you can just go to your deck so fast. There's going to be Mysterious Treasures in there. There's going to be, of course, Acro Bike, so you can draw to your deck immediately and get your Rayquaza set up. Then use a couple of Dreamy Mist and off you go, Rayquaza. This is the only thing you want to do here. Get Latias on your first turn, or Drampa if it's priced. Just get a Rayquaza set up and just spam the attack Dragon Break while you use Guzma. Other supporters in this deck is, of course, Judge. We need Judge because there's going to be a lot of Zoroark decks in the post-rotation format, and they tend to use straight a couple of turns, and yeah, every single turn they use straight, and then they have huge hand sizes. You want to have Disruption, and Disruption doesn't hurt us as much as you would think, so 2 copies of Judge is awesome because, of course, once we draw into Mysterious Treasure, we have access to Lele, and we start rolling once again. We even have the Acro Bikes, which we're gonna feature later. Next up is 1 copy of the Tate and Liza. Rayquaza does have a retreat cost, which is strange to me because it does have a lot of speed in the video games. Besides that, this is a shuffle supporter, lets you shuffle your hand into your deck drawing 5 cards, or you can just use the option to switch your active with one of your bench Pokemon. Could be beneficial in certain situations where you want to switch and you don't want to switch the opponent's active, so you can use a Tapu Lele for the Tate and Liza. Next is 4 copies of Guzma, the maximum amount because Stormy Winds sometimes discards supporters, and sometimes you just get rid of 2 Guzmas or maybe more, so that's why 4 copies of Guzma is a must. Once Rayquaza GX has been set up, Rayquaza GX demolishes everything, so we just Guzma and target every GX we want to just destroy it. And the last supporter in the list is going to be 1 copy of Zinnia. Zinnia makes sure that we can have energy acceleration when the opponent least expects it. Let's say they knock out a Rayquaza with 3 energies, well, then we're stuck there like, oh crap, cannot do anything anymore. Well, that's nothing more is true. We use Mysterious Treasure, use Tapu Lele, get Zinnia, and if one of your Pokemon got knocked out during the opponent's previous turn, well, we can use Zinnia to attach 2 basic energies from the hand to one of our Dragon Pokemon. So that will mean that we can just set up Rayquaza GX out of nowhere, and the opponent will be suffering because they didn't expect that. So 1 copy of Zinnia. We do run Palpat so we can get it back if need be, but it's an occasional supporter, so that's why there's only 1 copy of that in it. Next up is Ultra Ball. Pretty self-explanatory. We need 4 Ultra Ball, and of course we need 4 Mysterious Treasure because I don't know if you have noticed, but with this you draw into your Rayquazas very quickly. Get 4 Mysterious Treasure, well, then you can just get out your Rayquaza. Ultra Ball can also get out Tapu Koko, but Mysterious Treasure can get anything besides the Koko, so that's why we're running those, because we want to have a first turn where we use 4 Stormy Winds, get a Latias Prism Star into play, set our Rayquazas up, and then we're good for the game. And talking about good for the game, we're also gonna run 4 copies of the Choice Band. Why 4 copies? Because we need to maximize the damage output. We are losing Fighting Fury Bell, which means our HP is not that great anymore. We need to rely on the speed, and out of nowhere with Choice Band we hit the numbers perfectly, and then we go through the opponent's GXs turn after turn. And how do we go faster into our deck? Well, we of course have Acro Bike. Acro Bike, 3 copies of that. It's fantastic in this deck where you can just discard your basic energies for Rayquaza to gen attach. So that's the reasoning behind that. And also you don't want to just leave it at 2 Rayquazas. You want to have the maximum. Just bench your entire Rayquaza army on the bench and just get Latias Prism Star as well, and then you're good to go. Then some switching cards. We're gonna 2 copies of Switch because of course the retreat cost is annoying, and we do want to retreat into Latias Prism Star on the first turn, or Drampa if that might be the case. As Latias Prism Star is priced, it's not that great, but yeah, sometimes that happens. 1 copy of Escape Rope makes it very annoying for the opponent if they don't expect a random switch. They have to switch their active with one of their bench, and sometimes with the loss of Floatstone, this could be some awkward shenanigans for the opponent. Then some recovery because Stormy Winds discards almost your entire deck. We're gonna have 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher. We need Rescue Stretcher. Sometimes we discard Drampa or Tapu Koko or Lele. Well, with Rescue Stretcher we have immediate access to those Pokemon in the discard pile. Let's say you Stormy Winds and discard 2 Rayquazas. Well, then it's game. Well, not anymore, it's true, because we have Rescue Stretcher. 1 copy of Palpat seems to be the trick here. You could run 2 copies if you find the room for it, because I do tend to love using Palpat to put Rayquaza, the Guzma back in the deck, And if Guzma is back in the deck with Lele, it's almost GG if your Rayquazas have been set up. Next up, 2 copies of the Devoured Field. Devoured Field makes sure that everybody of your dragon types deal 10 more damage. That means Dragon Wisdom of the Drampa deals 30 damage. That means Dreamy Mist deals 40 damage. That means the base impact of the Dragon Break deals actually 100 damage if you only have 3 energies on Rayquaza GX, but that can stack up. Let's say you have 2 Rayquazas set up. That's 180 damage with the Devoured Field, 190 with the Choice Band, 220. So the numbers are perfect in this deck. So that's why we're running 4 copies of the Choice Band and 2 copies of the Devoured Field. Then to finish off the energy line, we just gotta take a note at that. We're gonna just run 7 lightning type energies. You could run maybe more, but I don't think it's a very fine number. 7 lightning energies and 7 grass energies, because we've seen from the nationals in Japan that this seems to be the magical number for Rayquaza to hit, of course, those Stormy Winds successfully. And that is going to be the deck list of today. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the content of the post-rotation shenanigans here, because we are loving making, of course, the great lists for you. If you have suggestions for the list, put them in the comment section below. Are you a fan of Drampa? If you don't want to include it, that's fine, but it also counts as a dragon type Pokemon for Latias to put energies on. So that is the reasoning behind the entire list. I know we lost Max Elixir, I know we lost Fighting Fury Belt, but at least we're gonna deal more damage because now we're relying on Choice Band and Devoured Field, and the deck is very, very solid. If you don't get out your Latias Prism Star, you can also rely on Zinnia to get things rolling on the second turn. If, let's say, one of your Drampa dies thanks to a Righteous Beating, no problem, use Zinnia, destroy a Zoroark and get rolling from there. Anyhow, this was another video for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more content. I'm also gonna do a video on the Tag Team Pokemon GX cards, which got revealed at World, so stick around for that video, and let me know what you want to see in the post-rotation deck list up next. I'll see you guys soon enough. Peace out.